So the thing is, I've been thinking about season 13 for almost 2 weeks now, ever since Dorky asked me to think about how to set up a defense for him. And I gave him a lot of resources that I'm gonna basically also give everyone else today. In fact, I gave him like a 6 paragraph text document about how to win CC. And then unfortunately he didn't even read it. Or he didn't read carefully because he made mistakes that I specifically told him in that document not to do. Okay, so the night before the tournament, I spoke to Dorky Dad for about 22 minutes on a Discord call, and then I gave him that document, and that's the help that I gave him. But and I went through every room. I went through like what to do in each room, how to counter each room, what to do if you face this team, what to do if you face that team, what are some traps you could run into, how do you counter those traps, and everything basically. And I can talk about that as well. So actually, why don't we start with that? Basically, I went through every single room and I talked about what to do in each room. Because I remember most of it. So basically, I was saying that um, Liberty was the new team, and I knew that people were going to run them on defense because they had a full teams. And to counter Liberty, all you have to do is use Superior Six with Mysterio, and then possibly Medusa as well, the full Liberty team. And basically, you just spawn with extra turn meter on Green Goblin Classic. He goes first. On his turn, they get a bunch of buffs, which immediately gets flipped by his ultimate, and they can't really recover from that. And then I told him to use Mephisto on offense because I felt that no matter what, um, in whatever room the opponent has Mephisto on defense, you should always be able to, at worst, mirror it quite efficiently with either an Emma or some sort of 5% turn meter like Oath or Kang. And so I felt that it was always better to have Mephisto on offense. And Mephisto on offense can also counter some tricky Odin teams like he ran into with Duelam. It was like, and I also gave him an option to put Mephisto on defense, which is what he talked about in his room six with Mephisto Kahori. And with that special interaction in room six, Kahori goes ults, puts ability block on Mephisto, and then so he ends up doing the basic pact, which I felt could have thrown a lot of people off guard, right? So I gave him two options. He went with the Mephisto on offense, and then I talked about how Kahori will be very different from from Ultimate 32. Kahori in room six and three, she will not be as strong on offense because she doesn't get to chain ults back to back, right? In Ultimate 32, she got to chain ults back to back if she got a kill. And I was talking about how in season 13, she won't be able to do the same thing. In room three, Kahori goes basic, ult, basic, assuming no kills. And in room six, she goes alt, basic, special. Again, assuming no kills. Both cases, it's much less of a strong tool on offense where like you can't just rely on Kahori, Guardian, and some idiots to just delete Mephisto very easily. And then I suggested his room three, which was Annihilator, Sus, and Pav. And I knew that people would try to use Immortals. I knew it wouldn't work, and I knew he would get defensive wins, which he did. He got multiple defensive wins off of that room three alone. And then I put Illuminati, Odin. I was like either one or six. Because I was talking with him and he felt that the 7/7 Omega Red Phoenix Force that everyone would have would too easily one-shot Illuminati Odin. So I'm like, okay, if you feel that way, then you can put it in one because the room rules might do a little bit to help you. And you put it with a Pre-Taunt or Weaver. That's what I told him. Two options, either Pre-Taunt or Weaver. I also told him about room six and room four being better for Orcus on defense. Um, because Orcus in room six, Night Stalkers can't really chain ultimates, right? If you think about how Night Stalkers beats Orcus, everyone ults. Well, you get one ult, and then no one else gets to ult. So that could throw, which I think he ended up using, right? He ended up using Orcus in room six in one of the matches. So I told him about that. I also told him about room four, how Orcus can also be tricky for room four if you don't bring Kestrel. With Night Stalkers, if you kill the pre-taunt minion too early, you can get trauma without being able to flip certain speed ups on characters you might need, and things could go bad. And I also told him the easy way to counter that would be to just bring Kestrel. And then room five, I told him to just put a cheap mutant team for room five because the thing about room five is you gotta worry about like if you put an expensive team in room five, you always have to be worried about a possible Immortals counter and a possible Phoenix Force counter, right? So Immortals in five, if you put a very strong team like with Super Scroll and all these fancy characters like Nightcrawler, okay, if I get to Immortals it, is that a loss for you, right? So I told him to put like the cheapest team in room five that will hopefully pull either an Apocalypse or an Ares. And the other thing is if you put like a Mephisto team in room five, or an Odin team in room five, you have to be worried about Phoenix Force because they're stronger too, because they're both mutants, right? So there's always a bit of like I would basically I told him not to put strong team in five, put like an unlimited, save Nightcrawler for offense, that kind of stuff, right? That's basically what I said.